I think interpersonal racism and systemic racism overlap, and the reason I say that, and this is where I get to my conclusion that all white people are racist, is because even that I would like to think I'm not particularly racist, and especially in the overt racism type of way, But I think what the problem is that because we've been indoctrinated from birth till this very day, the whole system is set up to not intentionally, not by some master plan, but just from his history and the way things have gone, that we other people. And then when, as I said, we got onto the immigration the immigration issue earlier, we kind of tend to retreat back to your group, your team, your tribe, when things get hard. But the problem, I think, is that systemically our society is very racist, and you may not have experienced that directly, but I'll give you a few examples. Black women are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth in the UK than a white woman. The point is why is that happening? It can't be just a physiological thing. Right. It must be more than that. And allegedly, I've read that doctors assume black women can take more pain. All of the medicine charts are designed for or were conceived on white people's anatomy. So there's so many things that could be in that, but why are we not doing something about that? Like you're saying, how if we go looking for it, how does that help? Well, it could possibly help save some lives, yeah. Because as I say, there may be other issues to it, and please, if you know better, do comment. But from I've read this, I've heard it on the radio, I've read it in newspapers, I've read articles, and the stat is at the moment 4 times more likely. And then I'll give you another example. When you're stopped and searched in the UK, the police, or even if they find a victim lying there, they use the IC system. Have you heard of IC? IC1, IC2, IC3? No. So basically, the police have codes for people for identification purposes. Okay. Now, black people are IC3s, white people are IC1 and IC2. Northern European are IC1, Southern European are IC2, black people are IC3, IC4 is your South Asians like Indian, Pakistani, and then you have IC5, which is Far East, and then you have like North African and Arab.
What does that mean?
So essentially, one police officer is, let's say they see a thief running away, and they call over the radio, thief on the run, he's an IC3 male.
Wow. Okay,
now, did you notice something there? IC1 North European, IC2 Southern European. Now, how much difference is there between, where do I look like I'm from? Am I Northern European or Southern European? Could I be Greek? Could I be Polish? Could I be English? What am I? So we've got 2, but what are you? You're an IC3 female. This is the problem. So this system was conceived in the 1970s,
right?
But the police still use it to this very day. Now, when they're interviewing, they've got a new guideline where they have to ask you where you're really from. But no, literally, there's like African, black, Caribbean black, etc., etc. But you can also say I don't want to answer.
That's what I usually do.
But that's the official form. But when they're talking, when they're trying to identify a suspect, they just use IC3. So if that's not systemic racism, then I don't. Why have the white people got 2?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm white British, okay, but a lot of people say, oh no, I think you've got something else in you. Maybe you're Greek, maybe you're this, maybe you're that, or other things. So clearly I could pass as an IC2 or an IC1. So if you're looking for a suspect, how does that help?
Can we circle back to interpersonal racism, because that's something that we can do something about immediately, right? We can. That's in terms of our mindsets. What can we do on an interpersonal level as people to be able to appreciate one another more and be more open to people who don't look like us and just more inclusive?
I think, of course, it to change the system is a long-term thing, and it's difficult. And of course, on an interpersonal level, individually speaking, it's easier to change. But the problem is how do you get that message to everybody? And unfortunately, this is where I feel like the system has to come first, because it overlaps. Because also, not just the system, but also the media and everything around you. Because essentially, the reason why I'm so passionate about the subject right now is because I have 2 mixed race daughters. Okay, and my worry is we're regressing, and it's down to people like Donald Trump. It's down to right wing politics. It's populism, and populism comes out. And the easiest way to do is to other people, to point at, because then people say, oh, well, we should be looking after our own first. Why are we looking after the foreigners? Like, get rid of the foreigners, we'll look after our own. But the thing is, these same people are the same people that are othering people on benefits, othering single mothers, othering people with mental health issues. This is the trouble with populism, is it's just divisive against everybody. Right. But the problem comes is skin colour is very apparent, so it's easy to other people with different skin colours than before it is over other things. You can't tell whether someone is unemployed just by walking down the road.
No, you can't. You can't tell if someone is Polish without hearing their accent, for instance.
Exactly. So, but I can sure as damn it see an Asian person or a black person immediately. So if I've got the mindset that they're the problem, they're the source of my problems, then I'm going to have that racism. And the thing is, because of where we've been and that we were getting better, there's a lot of people that felt they couldn't be as racist as they think. They were holding it in. But as soon as we voted Brexit, it was almost like a green light to suddenly be racist again. And you saw more and more examples of that on the street. So I've heard a lot of black people saying that they're experiencing much more overt racism now because of Brexit. So I know where you're coming from. The interpersonal is because at the end of the day we're talking about humans, and we're people, and we should people should be able to be in the perfect world we'd all be equal, and it wouldn't even the colour thing wouldn't even be an issue. But unfortunately it is, and that's what we have to deal with. And for me, the systemic part is the key to the interpersonal. We can change it. Maybe a few people watching this video may, but to be honest, the people watching this video are probably already in the same kind of mindset as we are. Maybe. But the people we need to reach aren't going to watch this video.
That is true.
Because they're going to be like, oh, what they're talking about, some woke nonsense.
No, because of the algorithms as well. Like, that's another matter. But the algorithms are set in such a way, like social media algorithms, to show you what you like, what you watched before. That is exactly what you will watch again, which is another problem, because that's like the enemy of an open mind. Basically, what you are saying is that the system has to change before individuals can change. And for me, on an individual personal level, I believe that I don't need to wait for the system to change. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because I believe it's just a healthier way to live your life as well, not spending too much time dissecting what somebody said and why they said it and what do they mean and all that stuff. Like, it's so toxic. And a person who's ignorant can say something and they move on with their lives, and I don't want to be the one to I believe it is my responsibility to recycle the trash that comes my way, because nobody else will do it for me. And of course, on a systemic level, the government has a responsibility, but we also, as individuals, have a responsibility to decide how we are going to think and to search for the truth. Not just sit in front of the TV, watch a few mainstream channels and decide that this is who we are, and this is how we go, and this is how we do things.
I think if I was you, I would think like you.
Right.
And I think it's important to think like that, because I think it's like you say, it's toxic, and I think it will affect you, and it's going to hurt you more than anything, and it's not going to achieve anything.
Right.
And I think just accepting, kind of like you say, filtering things for yourself, and taking some responsibility in that. I agree, but I think that what we overlook is the power of media and brainwashing, in a sense. And brainwashing is a bit strong. It's like for example, the Brexit argument. I won't go too deep back into that, but the point is that they were lied to, and I have compassion for the conned and contempt for the con men. And that's not my line. I stole it from a radio presenter, James O'Brien. and he's very strong. He's got a very similar outlook to me on this. But I do feel like that they were conned. They were conned. However, they do need to take some responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
They've basically, done themselves self-harm in what they believed was right. But the thing is they were lied to.
For me, the main thing is, like, if you can do something to stop racism, or to influence people's minds in the right direction, do it. That's the reason why I'm having some of these conversations. That's the reason why I'm vlogging from Ghana. I'm vlogging from Poland. I'm having conversations with people like you. I help people self-publish books. I help writers, write stories, like writers of mixed heritage. For that very reason, I'm really, really passionate about amplifying those voices. What I don't do is look for racism everywhere I go. Like whether that's the supermarket situation or another situation where there are many, when somebody is rude to you, they don't smile at you, but they smile at someone else. I'm not going to spend my life trying to dissect why they don't like me and they like that other person, whether it's because they don't like my skin color, whether it's because they don't like my nose, whether it's because they don't like my accent. I don't have time for that, and I'm not going to be limited to people who look like me either. Like, I love having conversations with mixed race individuals, because we share certain experiences and we can bond on certain levels that I cannot bond with somebody who is not mixed race, because they just don't understand the experience. However, there are other levels on which I can bond with other people, and I refuse to give that up. Like, it makes no sense. Like, to me, we're all human. We all share this human experience, and I love to be able to share it with everyone, not just with people who look like me. So I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have conversations. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do what we can to change things for the better. I'm just saying, let's have these conversations in a respectful way, and also let them be constructive, not aggressive. Let's not presume, let's not assume, let's not dissect everything that happens around us. You can lose your mind if you do that, and you will sometimes be excessively vigilant, because if you are looking for something, you will find it, or you will create it, and you will even, I also believe in energy. Like, you will attract what you constantly think about, talk about, and stuff like that. Do you see what I mean? You will attract exactly that.
Yeah. I think I totally get that, and as I say, I think for your mental health, I think it's a good way of being.
No, but you see, I feel like I'm doing something constructive.
Yeah, no, as I say, it's a positive step. I think it's positive, but I think for me, I see injustice.
Right.
And so that's probably why I keep leaning towards the systemic side, because yes, on a interpersonal issue, in the interpersonal issues.
So do you feel like white people need to do more?
Yes,
saying?
I do, because I think the thing is, like I'll give you another little example. Now we're talking about mixed race. My daughters, they're twin. I've got twin daughters, mixed race daughters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and they're 4-year-old twins. They're mixed race, and before they were born, white people would say to me, and some black people would say, "Oh, you're having mixed race kids. Oh, they're going to be so cute," and I'm like,
Yeah,
what do you mean? Incidentally, they are very cute, but that's not the point. The point is why are they assuming they're going to be cute because they're mixed race? What if the mother of my children had children with a black man? Are they not going to be cute? They wouldn't even say that. If I was having I've got an older daughter as well who's 16, and she's white. The mother is Greek Cypriot, but no one ever said, "Oh, she's going to be cute."
But you see, that's not racism, though. That's just that's preference, and that's fetishism. It's an ism. I think we had this conversation as well. Like, I feel like we all have isms, and there are so many of them. What do you expect from white people? Do you just want them to just be more mindful? Do you want them to research more? Do you want them to read books by other races? Do you want them to watch podcasts like this one, or another, maybe like black people's podcast? What do you expect from them? What do you think they should do to broaden their horizons?
I think that's actually a very good question. We need to be educated in this area, and I think the biggest way of that happening is when you mix with other people.
Yeah.
Because London if we took a cross section of where we're sitting right now, we've probably got someone from everywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
Like,
which is what I love about
yeah,
London.
which is the most amazing thing, right? This really is a melting pot of
It
culture.
is.
Now, you'll find with politics that people who live near people from different countries are far less racist, and people from where I grew up are far more racist.
Wow.
Because they have less exposure
That's true.
to different people.
That's
So
true.
I think the biggest way is exposure, and I think, you know, in some ways we are moving forward, but I do feel like we're going backwards. And I feel like because of, as I say, because the world is a hard place at the moment. You know, there's a lot going on in the world, and you can see it in America with Trump. You can see it here. We're pulling back in, we're pulling away, we're sticking to our own, we're being tribalistic, we're being, you know, almost like a football team. You're going to stick with your own, you know what I mean? And I think that breeds racism. So for me, to get back to progress, we need to try and get through to the people to say, these are lies, you're being told lies, this is not the truth. One of the things I didn't like growing up was to get to where we were improving, there was this thing of we're all the same. And yes, on a human level, we're all humans. But I think it's wrong personally to not see the difference.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of this and celebrate the difference. Celebrate the difference.
Exactly.
And for me, that's very important. I don't like this, oh, you know, we're all the same. Underneath, we bleed the same. Our blood's red. You know, that's just such nonsense, because that just completely negates the whole experience that a black person goes through. It's very important to be aware that we're different, and celebrate the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, that whole thing of we're all the same and everything, it makes you skip over the issues. You know, like, oh, there's no racism in this country, there's nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? We're not racist, we're very inclusive, we've got people from all over the world in our country, you know. But the point is we need to, I think I'm on your side in a way, in the terms of I don't think we should go around looking individually to dig it all out and like call it out, because it would be it would make things worse.
Yeah.
I think it's more important that we try and get the word out at a higher level, so it filters through. And I think that's what was happening before. And in some ways it wasn't, because what it did, it pushed some people who have
So we're
racist
talking about
views.
the media, we are talking about the government, the regulations, the rules, the legacy, the legislations.
Yeah.
The media,
Yeah.
the media are
Yeah.
the big ones.
Yeah, because the media is the one backing up the populism, and that's where these people like Trump and that wouldn't be able to operate without the media. You know, even, especially with social media. You know, so I think the media is the key.
Yeah.
And you can't change the media because they're owned by old white rich men.
Yeah.
You know, so they're going to feed out the narrative that they basically pull out the narrative that he knows is going to get the most noise, the most controversial. You know, like and it just others people, and white people fall for it.
Yeah.
Over and over again, they fall for it. And that's and in a way, that's kind of why I'm so passionate about it, and on the systemic side, because I feel like I need to get out there and change things, and I feel like it's my responsibility.
Travel is a big one as well, isn't it? Traveling around, it just teaches you so much. It shows you that there are so many perspectives on one topic. It really does open your mind. How many countries have you traveled to? Or maybe you can just mention the ones that really made an impression on your mind and made you change your mind about certain things, like what we are talking about, significantly.
Yeah, that's actually we should have gone into that a little bit, really, and maybe we can finish up on this. But so yeah, essentially what it was is that I finished earlier that I basically grew up in a kind of racist area, and I probably had those similar views. And what was quite interesting is when I moved to Africa, I moved originally to Zimbabwe and Zambia, and originally I was living alongside white expats. Or immigrants, as you, but they
were you mixing with the locals though?
At that stage, no. The only interaction I had with locals would be the maid or the gardener or the or people washing your car or watching your car. So workers essentially.
Yeah.
So and I'm not going to lie to you, the white people in these countries are racist. They're kind of kind in some ways, but they're also kind of they talk down to them. And if God forbid they steal a cup of sugar or something.
But you know what? There is There is also such thing as classism in Africa. So what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that I have seen black Africans talking down on black Africans who were their subordinates, whether they were house helps, drivers. It happens there. Like it's across the board. It's not just a white people issue.
It's very normal for
Classism on this level. I feel like it's classism more than racism.
No, it is classism, but they do have a real disdain for black people.
Wow.
Not disdain's probably the wrong word. They look down on them as their lesser people. And I was moving around in those circles, and I found it very uncomfortable. Coming from the UK, even though I grew up in a fairly kind of, as I said, racist area, but not racist in the sense of going around, being overtly racist, but I was shocked at the level.
On the same, I was also shocked by how black Africans speak about other black Africans, and the same thing. Like it's just, I guess, but I guess when it comes to this, it's classism. When it comes to black Africans, discriminating against other black Africans who are, who don't have as much as they have. But to be honest, like in Africa, it's all about what you have and who you know. I feel like the conversation is still not finished, but I mean, we could go on and on forever. Do you have any final thoughts?
Most people, you just need to live your life and find what makes you happy and try not to dwell on it too much.
Prejudge.
Yeah. I think it's all an individual journey as well. And like I said at the very beginning, is that these are just opinions and views that I currently have from my experiences, and we haven't touched on half of it really.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
the point is that for me personally, I feel like I have to do more, because I do,
like that.
but I do feel also responsibility because I'm white, and I do think white people have got a lot to answer for how we,
especially in a country like
Great Britain. Yeah, well, Great Britain was the one that went around the whole world, like dividing up countries and making them British essentially, and then when they got their independence, kind of now othering them. But we used them when we needed them. When we had World War II, etc., we used them to fight in the wars, etc., etc. But the point is so I feel as a white person, I have privilege, and as a British person, I have responsibility. And I think that I will do whatever I can, and maybe I'll get involved in politics. Maybe I'll do podcasts, YouTube myself, to get this message out there further, to try and change things. Because at the moment my daughters are 4. By the time they get to your age, I hope things are completely different in a good way.